Some people think that you don't need to give way at a mini roundabout if the vehicle you need to give way to is not moving. For example, you are this blue car approaching this mini roundabout. The red car on the right, who you should give priority to, is stopped waiting at the give way line. Can the blue car just sail on through, or does the blue car need to give way? That's what I'm going to explain in this video. Also, as you can see from this illustration, there's not always enough space to completely go around a mini roundabout, but you should try to go around it as much as you can. There are two reasons I hear for not giving way at a mini roundabout in this situation. The first reason is the red car is yet to cross the give way line. Therefore, the red car is not in the roundabout, and therefore the blue car does not need to give way to the red car. So what they're suggesting to me is they only need to give way to traffic that's already in the roundabout. The other reason I hear is, as the red car is stationary, if the blue car was to proceed, the blue car would not cause the red car to brake because the red car isn't moving. Now I'm going to explain why both of these reasons are not good reasons to avoid giving way at a mini roundabout in this situation. So is it true then, does the blue car not need to give way to the red car because the red car is yet to enter the roundabout? Does the blue car only need to give way to traffic that's already on the roundabout? Well, I have the official wording here from the Highway Code, Rule 185, and it states, give priority to traffic approaching from your right, unless directed otherwise by signs, road markings or traffic lights. And it also states, watch out for all other road users already on the roundabout. So the Highway Code is clearly saying there, give priority to traffic approaching from the right and traffic already on the roundabout. However, on large roundabouts, it's unlikely you're going to need to think about traffic approaching the roundabout. You're most likely just going to be thinking about the traffic already on the roundabout, as the traffic approaching is very far away and you've got lots of time to move in front of them without making them brake or change direction. But the smaller the roundabout gets, and particularly a mini roundabout, the more likely you're not only going to have to think about traffic already on the roundabout, but traffic approaching the roundabout too, because they're closer. You shouldn't be thinking about whether or not they've crossed their give way line. You should be thinking about how much time you have, and you can judge that based on their speed and distance. Do you have time to move into the roundabout without making traffic from the right either brake or change direction? On the driving test, when you move into a roundabout, the examiner is going to be considering, did you make anybody change speed or direction? Now, if you made a vehicle slow down, say a minuscule amount, you could barely see it, but you think maybe they did have to slow down a little bit, it's probably not going to be marked. It's not worth it. If you made someone slow down a minor amount, then it's going to be a minor mark or a driver fault. If you made someone slow down or change direction a serious amount, then it's going to be a serious fault and therefore a driving test fail. Or if it was dangerous and you went to pull out dangerously and maybe the examiner had to intervene, use the dual control or take the steering or say something verbally because it's urgent, then it's going to be a dangerous fault and also a driving test fail. The driving examiner isn't considering whether or not traffic from the right has already crossed their give way line when they're deciding whether or not it was a good decision from you to move into the roundabout. They're looking at the flow of traffic from the right and seeing how you affect it. What about the second reason then? If traffic from the right is at the give way line and they're not moving, do you still need to give way to them? Well, technically, no, not really, because the Highway Code does say give way to traffic approaching from the right. And if they're stationary at the give way line, not moving, well, they're not approaching from the right, they're waiting. However, it's still a good idea to give way in this situation, because as you're approaching the mini roundabout, the vehicle could start moving at any moment. And if you're not slowing down to give way and traffic from the right starts moving into the roundabout, you're going to have to brake hard at the give way line because you weren't slowing down ready to give way. So in this situation, what you should do is slow down, actually stop at the give way line, and if they're still not coming, then if you're sure it's safe to do so, then proceed. But be careful, because traffic from the right is not moving. That means there's a car not moving, or a vehicle of some kind that's not moving when they should, and other vehicles behind them may be trying to overtake. So this is actually when you want to be at your most careful, in unusual situations where someone isn't going when it's normal for them to go, because that causes confusion, and then in those situations, that's when vehicles come from directions that you weren't expecting. So be very careful, make sure the vehicle that you're supposed to give way to is not coming, and make sure no one is overtaking. And also think about other directions into the roundabout where someone else might have got fed up and thought, oh, I've had enough of this, no one's moving, I'm going to go, and they suddenly move off. So be very careful. But yes, if the vehicle on your right is stopped and not coming, if it's safe to do so, you can continue. And that leads me on to a recent mock test video. I'll leave a link to it up there. I gave a serious mark to the driver for not giving way at a mini roundabout when the vehicle they needed to give way to was stationary. And the reason why I gave her a serious mark was because she didn't appear to be aware that she needed to give way to the black car. If she would have slowed down and given way to the black car, and I could see she's trying to decide, why isn't that black car moving? Okay, well, it's not moving. Maybe I'll go through cautiously now. Then that would have been different. But she just carried on through. And the real reason why I think this happened was because there was 3 mini roundabouts in a row, and she was concentrating on where to go and which lane she needed. And she did a lane change at that very moment as well. And therefore that distracted her, and she didn't realise there was a black car on the right that she needed to give way to. And it happens a lot on that second mini roundabout of the 3 if you go that way. And my guess is as well that that's happened quite a few times with that black car, which is why the black car was cautious and waited to see if we were actually going to give way before they went, because I'm sure they've done that quite a few times where they've gone to turn right at the roundabout and the car that needs to wait for them doesn't wait. So as she appeared to be unaware of the car she needed to give way to, that's why I gave her a serious mark. If she was aware, gave way, and then decided, you know what, that black car's definitely not coming, and then went through carefully and safely, then that would have been fine. Not following the highway code during your driving test is likely going to lead to driving faults. So if you don't give priority to traffic from the right at a roundabout, you're probably going to get a fault for that. Whether or not it's a minor fault, a serious fault, or a dangerous fault, well, that depends on how serious the situation was. On another note, it's important to understand that the highway code does not give you the right of way in any circumstance. It only advises when you should give way. So if you think someone needs to give way to you and they're not, then it's best you give way to avoid a collision. If you found the video interesting or helpful, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're looking for car insurance, check out the links to Collingwood and Confused in the description. If you're learning to drive and want to insure yourself on somebody else's car, then Collingwood are there for you, because you can do so without affecting the owner's policy, and that takes away a big stress from the owner of that car that you're using to practice your driving in. Via the link at the moment, there's up to 35% off and a £20 Amazon gift card. If you want to insure your own car, I recommend checking out the link to confused.com, because you fill out one quote form and get loads of quotes back from many insurers to compare who's cheapest, and you can change your car on that quote as many times as you like without having to do the whole quote again. So it's a quick and easy way to compare how much it costs to insure different cars. Using the links doesn't cost you anything, but it does support the channel, so thank you very much. Subscribe to get my future videos, and until the next one, cheerio.